Peace be with you. It's so good to have you here on this day of All Saints. Last night I was at a previous congregation where I was an associate. They had their 300th anniversary. So it was a wonderful evening and a late evening. But I'm so glad to be back here to be with you on All Saints Sunday among the saints that are here online and in the balcony. We have 10 households and in the balcony and here gathered present. So that was a very familiar reading. Thank you so much, David. The Beatitudes. It's so familiar. Sometimes we just click off when we hear that. And what do Beatitudes mean? Blessed, yes. Another word could be? Yes, what else could it mean? Yes, it could mean happy. It could mean honored, greatly honored. Greatly honored are those, greatly honored. The actual Greek word is makarios. Greatly honored, blessed, happy. And that's the language in Latin, that's beatitude. And so all these people we heard in our Bible lesson just before the sneak preview was they're all streaming out to hear Jesus as he gave all these beatitudes, all these blessings. And who could blame them? I mean, he was curing everybody. He was curing people with epilepsy, with leprosy, people possessed by demons. Everybody was being cured. And he was reuniting families back together. People that had been ostracized were being brought back into community. Of course, they're going to stream out and hear what he has to say. He was doing and talking the works of love. Blessed are the poor in spirit, for theirs is the kingdom of heaven. The poor in spirit, the humble. The people who really listen, the people who really care. They're already in the kingdom of heaven, Jesus says. They're already there. That's what the kingdom of heaven is about. It's something about that caring relationship. The kingdom of heaven is already there. And if you've been held in that special relationship, you've had a taste of the kingdom of heaven. And I'm betting that the people that were listening to Jesus had their favorite beatitudes. So does anybody here have a favorite beatitude out of the ones we had just right here? Yes, Mary.
I like the one from Matthew chapter 5:11 and 12, because when you're persecuted and won't get you, you're going to heaven. I didn't want to see people about when we were.
Okay, that's wonderful. So the one about being persecuted, you're still precious in God's sight. Thank you. Does anybody else have a favorite beatitude? Have you ever thought about the Beatitudes? Yes, Stephen. Blessed are the poor. Yes.
I was wondering what poor in spirit meant exactly.
Great, yeah. So, and actually there's two different versions, because Luke says, blessed are the poor. Matthew said, blessed are the poor in spirit. And so, what are we talking about here? So, poor in spirit, that's the one I just quoted right here. So, I'm interpreting that as being very humble. You're poor in spirit. So, Patricia was sometimes accusing me of explaining too many things, like I am right now. And if I was truly poor in spirit, I would stop explaining. And I'd be humble and say, well, let's explore this together. And that's being truly humble and saying, no, I don't have all the answers. And let's examine things together. So, but Luke has a different focus on that. The blessed are the poor. Blessed are the poor. It's a great one, though. Other favorites?
I like the meek.
The meek. Blessed are the meek. Isn't that great? They inherit the earth. Yeah. Blessed are the meek. Sometimes people have these stitched at home on the wall or paintings of them. So think about it. Maybe what is your favorite beatitude? Your favorite one? One of my favorite ones today is, blessed are the peacemakers, for they'll be called children of God. Children of God. And today, I feel we need peace more than ever. Please join us at 5:30 today. We'll be gathering at the town green. We'll be lifting up prayers for peace in our prayer vigil for peace and healing. I am the lucky one who is the president of the Belmont Religious Council this year, and so I've been working to organize this with the Human Rights Commission. I'm getting to speak to a lot of people. I'm being as humble as I can, bringing people together. In the last few days, I've been speaking with our local Rabbi Jonathan Krause, with Imam Feni for the Muslim community in town. He's actually out at the Wayland Center, but that's where people here go. It's the Islamic Center of Boston in Wayland. And they're all coming together. Everyone's coming together. Faith leaders, town officials are coming together. Blessed are the peacemakers, for they will be called the children of God. And so the first 7 blesseds are very nice, merciful, pure in heart, but the last numbers 8 and 9, and Mary mentioned one of them, often people don't pick those. Blessed are the ones who are persecuted for the sake of righteousness, for theirs is the kingdom of heaven. Blessed are you when people revile you. Isn't that wonderful? Blessed are you when people revile you, and utter all kinds of evil against you falsely on my account. Rejoice and be glad. This is Jesus talking. Rejoice and be glad, for your reward is great in heaven, for in the same way they persecuted the prophets who were before you. So how is this a blessing? How is this a blessing? How is this greatly honor you when people hurl insults at you and revile you? I feel that the Beatitudes are describing the people our world really needs. The people our world really needs. We need humbling, caring people. We need people who comfort us. We need people who seek justice, hunger for thirst and righteousness. We need peacemakers. This is the kingdom of heaven. We also need people who don't give up when they are attacked. We need people who can handle the tough stuff. Even when our story gets scary, we need people who don't run away. We need the saints. So with this horrific attack now going on in Gaza and Palestine and Israel, there are many threats that have been raised against Jewish people in the United States. Anti-Semitism is quintupled in the last 2 weeks. Also, threats and violence against Arab and Muslim neighbors has also risen at this time. This is a scary time we are living in. And so I have to say, to witness our local rabbi and imam coming together in this time, and they will be saying together at 5:30, we pray for the peoples of Palestine and Israel. And the people respond, we pray for peace and healing. Our hearts are broken for them. That takes courage to come together. There are people in their communities that do not want them to do this right now. There are people on the fringes that want to disrupt anything like this. The world could be a scary place, but we need people who don't run away when it gets scary. I feel this is part of the appeal of Halloween. We can kind of tiptoe a little bit into something that's scary. We need a way to face some of the bad news that's out there. People die. So there's costumes of skeletons and ghosts, kind of, what does it mean when you die, or what happens, or do these people come back and spook us? People can do very bad things. So you see monsters out there, monstrous things walking the streets. I was walking the streets of Brookline. There were a lot of monsters out there on Halloween, even dinosaurs. They all came back. They all came back. Horror movies. Horror movies are very popular. Scary movies. We're kind of like, what would happen? How would we react if this happened? Like, and some people love horror movies. They love. Who here likes a good horror movie? Ah, some people do. Okay. What's some of your favorite horror movies?
I love Scream.
Scream. Okay, Scream. Okay. Which one do you like?
I like Cabin in the Woods.
Heaven in the Woods. Oh, I heard a moan from out here. Okay. Do you have a favorite one? Or not, I should say.
Shining.
The Shining.
Scary.
What's the scariest horror movie you've heard about? The Exorcist. Yeah. Or which one? The Blair Witch Project. Which?
I don't like chainsaws.
Chainsaws. He doesn't like chainsaws. Keep the chainsaws away. And The Exorcist. Yeah, The Exorcist. Oh my goodness. Yeah, chainsaws, Exorcist, The Shining. And today, actually, this month is the 50th anniversary of The Exorcist in 1973. And so I looked into this. It was a blockbuster film, 10 Oscar nominations for The Exorcist, 10. It broke all previous records for single week movie sales when it came out. Church groups organized protests against it, picketing against it. Stories leaked out, probably the studio leaked out these stories that people in their seats were fainting and vomiting while they're watching the film. So let's find out what this is all about. So what was happening in this powerful movie, and why is Pastor Eric talking about The Exorcist in church? What is he up to this time? I have no idea. I have no idea. But I want you to think about, have you noticed how some of the best horror stories the best ones follow a similar plot? There's like an innocent somebody, there's unspeakable horror and evil. And even though the innocent somebody is weak and ineffectual, bumbling, somehow like the mother fiercely defends her children against a horrible monster, and justice is done, and love wins. Love wins. And that is the plot of The Exorcist. It really is. In The Exorcist, a 12-year-old girl is possessed by a demon. Doctors can't do anything, and in desperation, even the doctors say, well, ask the church. We don't know what to do. and they go, and the church is like, well, we don't know, but there might be somebody who can still has some knowledge about how to do this. And they go back, and it's 2 Catholic priests are brought in, and they're far from perfect. They've made mistakes. They're full of guilt in their lives, and they're not even sure if they have faith in God. I mean, what an A-team, right? They're not even sure they have faith in God, and they're up against unbelievable horror. If you remember anything about the movie, it's horrific. But these 2 bumbling priests, in the face of evil, when everyone else runs away, they stay there. They stay in the room. They don't run away. They're doing their very best to care, to heal, to love, which seems not enough. Not enough. In the climactic scene, the younger priest, Father Karras, steps out of the room for a moment, just for a moment. Of course, that's a big mistake. Because when the older priest, Father Marin, who's, by the way, played brilliantly by the iconic Max von Sydow, who's the older priest, he's left alone with the demon. And when the younger priest comes back, the older priest has been killed. And so, and the younger priest just goes into a rage, and he's so angry, and he's so desperate, and doesn't know what to do. And finally, he says, "No, take me. Free her, free the 12-year-old girl, but take me instead." He makes the ultimate sacrifice. So what's happened? Two bumbling people who don't run away in the face of really, really scary things, full of self-doubt. They're not even sure if they believe in God. They're not even sure about God's love, and yet they become God's love. Love wins. Love wins. Even in scary stories, love wins. And this is the archetype of all the best horror films. It really is, if you look back at it. Yes, the monsters are terrible, horrible things happen, but in the end, there's some measure of love wins. And Michael wants to make a comment. Yes?
Most powerful film, I think it was On the Beach.
On the beach, on the beach. Okay, I'll have to look up that one. Hopefully love wins in that one. No, okay. But I'm going by the archetype of the best horror films. The best horror films. And this is also the archetype in the Beatitudes of Jesus. Love wins. Yes, some bad things are going to happen. The world doesn't want to hear about peace. The world's going to insult you. The world's going to persecute you, try to trip you up. But if you're doing things for the sake of love, for the sake of Jesus, we can trust that love will win in the end. In the end. This is the archetype I would say underlies our whole reality. Our whole reality. We can glimpse this truth in the best of stories today. I'll just share with you my friend Bob Hale. He lives in Cleveland, Ohio. He's a benefit auctioneer. Do you know what a benefit auctioneer is? Maybe not. Okay, so let's say a charity, Boys and Girls Club, a hospice. They want to raise money. They bring in my friend Bob. And they'll have a dinner, and he'll go through. They might auction off paintings, or he'll get them to give money for a really good cause. He's raised money for schools, for hospitals, for cancer research. He's done a lot. And 3 weeks ago, he was the benefit auctioneer for an organization in Ohio called WAGS for Kids. WAGS for Kids, which is Working Animals Giving Service for Kids. WAGS for Kids. Growing possibilities one child at a time, focusing on young children who are severely disabled or are dealing with autism or have some kind of special need. And to see a well-trained animal paired with a kid, it's like watching a little miracle right there. It's incredible. So people were motivated. Bob said it was a good dinner. People were excited, but it's kind of like it was like average for giving until they invited the warden up to speak because the local prison, Richland Correctional Institute, has been saying the warden there says our guys who are incarcerated, can we train the animals and then give them up? And so they started a program, the prisoners that want to do this, some of them are lifers, and they're training the animals and then giving them away. And there was a special award for that warden that evening. The warden, his name was Kenneth Black, talking about bringing WAGS for Kids into prison. These animals are coming out incredibly well-trained, very loving and caring, and everything WAGS for Kids could hope for. But only the dogs leave the prison, not the prisoners. And so the warden accepted his presentation that night, and they gave him a gift and gave him a special honorary thing, and they said, I need to tell you something. This really should not be for me. Tonight, he said, the prisoners knew that I would be here tonight. And they knew you were trying to raise money for WAGS for Kids. And they love this program so much, and they love what you're doing. And they just pulled everything they had. And here is a check for $9,562. And Bob said people started crying. These prisoners have made some really bad mistakes in their life. They're in a really scary place right now. They're not going to get out. They're not going to get out. But even in scary stories, love wins. Love wins. And with the eyes of faith, we can see that when love wins, it's the saints among us who are making that happen. That's how these miracles happen. And so today on All Saints Sunday, we remember the saints who have gone before us and lifted up all these names in prayer. And we're forever grateful for the saint of Tom Capadonna that was among us and the ways that God shined through him. Especially we remember how after he received a kidney transplant, he was forever grateful for that transplant and would tell people again and again, become an organ donor. You can really save someone's life. And we remember also Wendy Gully, who led us with her fierce love. And those are the words in my heart to describe here. Fierce love, standing up against bullies, advocating for us to become open and affirming, leading us in so many ways to help those in great need, You see, even in scary stories, the scary stories of our world, the saints win. We also remember the saints among us today. We're so glad that Stephen could be with us from the outdoor church, and he'll be speaking up here soon. Thank you for your inspiring leadership of the outdoor church. Thank you for showing up when others run away. Thank you for that so much. And we're also grateful that people here got connected to the outdoor church at the start of the pandemic. When other churches had to step back, that's when we started that new ministry. So we're so grateful for that chance to connect to all that you are doing and people are doing in Cambridge. And today we are making some sandwiches for you to take away. Pam, how many sandwiches? 100 sandwiches. Are we ready to do 100 sandwiches? Yes, 3 people are. Awesome. Okay, fantastic. We're going to make 100 sandwiches. So what an amazing story we all get to be part of today, making sandwiches, being part of this community of saints. We're flawed. We're bumbling. I mean, it's pointed out often how flawed I am. I don't know about you, and how many mistakes I make, and I over-explain things, But love can be so bumbling sometimes, so weak. It can seem so ineffectual. The saints seem so weak up against war in our world, up against hunger in our world, up against systems that are stacked against people that are struggling to survive, to piece things together, people that are trapped in prisons. Everything seems stacked against them. And yet, when the story gets scary, the saints stay. When other people run away, the saints stay. The saints stay. I believe, I know, I've told you this before, love never fails, or as our church door says, love never faileth. Love never faileth. Love wins. Thanks be to God.